last 16 years in a row. And it's not me, it's the team doing what I've taught them to. So those are the things that I think I brought with me over to the insurance side that's really helped.
I want to deep dive into that. But before we do that,
buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
boom!
Randy.
How we like to start these.
It is how we like to start. And then I'll just step on you. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. Randy Thompson.
Yes.
How we doing, partner?
Oh, great. How you doing, Randy?
We're fantastic. Thank you.
So
doing great.
You are somewhere where there's snow on the ground.
It's mostly clearing up now, finally. You'd think by late June it'd be all gone, but we live up here in the mountains of western Wyoming, just south of Yellowstone, and it stays cold.
It's beautiful there.
Ooh.
Yeah. We finally hit 70 degrees today.
70. We would be wearing parkas. That's chilly.
So Randy was just telling me that, what is it, January gets nuts, right? What is it in January?
Yeah, about minus 20 for about 4 or 5 weeks in a row.
Oh.
Yeah, 5 feet of snow. It's nuts.
I worked for a bank in between Merrill Lynch and my agency, and they had their broker dealer was in St. Cloud, Minnesota. So I think that's even more north. St. Cloud, Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to fly. That was before Tucson even had good flights. So we had to fly from Phoenix to St. Cloud. It was February. So it was 90 degrees, 90 in Phoenix. We got to St. Cloud. It was minus 45. Minus 45. And I had jeans and a t-shirt. Here you go. Right.
Oh
it was, and I had some kind of sweatshirt, like a hoodie, but man, it was like you when you breathe in, you can't even breathe. It's just
you just stay inside. It's too cold. Yeah.
And then it's a small airport, so you get off the stairs and you're outside. And we went up to the thing and we were pounding on the wall or the door of the TSA thing, saying, "Let us in. We're a Phoenix." And, so a lot of fun. There you go. So
awesome.
We have a lot of listeners from now your carrier, who we won't mention, in addition to our carrier. But I'm sure that everybody would love to hear your story.
Whoa, Craig, you're kind of jumping the gun. We have a couple icebreakers for Randy here, even though we kind of broke the ice. No pun beforehand.
Yes.
But Randy, we're going to bring back an old question, man. What was your first concert that you ever went to? Very first.
Billy Idol, 1984.
Oh,
the Rebel.
You're the first Billy Idol.
Big hair, hard rock. It was fantastic back in the day.
So in 1984, you could have gone to Van Halen.
Yeah, I don't remember him coming through town, but Billy Idol did.
Dude, there you go. That's awesome.
Great.
Billy Idol. Did he do the?
Oh man, yeah, White Wedding. That was the big hit back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What did you dress? Awesome. How did you dress and do your hair to that concert?
I don't remember. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure I was a little gothic. Who knows? Country boy trying to pretend to be a hard rock. Anyway.
Hey, I was there too, man. I dyed my hair every single color possible when in my teens.
Yeah, I had a big mullet because I played hockey and wrestled, and so you weren't cool unless you had the mullet back then. So
yeah,
I didn't ever dye my hair, but I had big hair back then.
They don't dye their hair in Wyoming. Come on.
Oh, nah, not at all.
But they do rock a mullet for the hockey. My son's lacrosse team, they all do mullets also. I think
it's legit sport.
Yeah.
You gotta be pretty tough to play lacrosse.
Oh yeah. And now they've, since the virus, now there's no sports anymore.
Yeah.
Well, from the hair bands to punk rock in the 80s, how did you get into insurance? That seems like a different path.
Well, I kind of finally grew up and went and got an education, and I started life as a teacher and a coach, and taught at the local high school and was coaching wrestling and having a great experience here in Star Valley, Wyoming. And got a little tired of the politics that came from, teaching and living check to check. After about a decade of doing that, I knew the writing was on the wall and started looking for other opportunities. And this opportunity that I'm in today kind of fell in my lap, and I made the transition. And what's really interesting is the things that I learned as a teacher and as a coach became very formative in how I ran my business. It's been fantastic,
So how so?
Well, taking complex things and make them simple for people to get. Like, I think as agents, if we can just simplify things a little bit, people get it and then they act on it. If they don't get it, then usually your response is, let me think about it. And you failed. The other piece to that is running an agency with a team so you can multiply and replicate yourself over and over and over again. So, I've got a team of 10 agents that work for me, and I don't want them to go out and just wing it. They got to know what they're doing. And so, like in the wrestling room, we're practicing 100 times, just one move. We'll drill it over and over and over and over again to kind of cement that move into the marrow of their bones so they can think. They got that muscle memory. It's not unlike a basketball player that makes 500 foul shots before, they go into a game. We do that every single day with my team, and in the morning before our agency opens. And I got a fantastic team. And like I was telling you earlier, one of the top agents in our company, last 16 years in a row. And it's not me, it's the team doing what I've taught them to. So those are the things that I think I brought with me over to the insurance side that's really helped.
I want to deep dive into that. But before we do that, what was it that grabbed you about? That's a crazy move from teacher into insurance agent. What was it that grabbed you about it? And has that thing changed much since then?
I think the opportunity to be my own business owner, be in control of my own time, and write my own check was the most appealing thing to me. And then being exhausted with the drama that comes in education with all of that, it combined to cause me to jump shit. I didn't know what the hell I was doing when it came to insurance, but I did know how to work hard, and I knew that I could figure it out. And so I just rolled up my sleeves and got after it, and it's been fantastic.
I love that. And everybody has that. I've noticed this. So people come from different industries. They pull in those experiences. And for some reason, with insurance agents that have an agency, you can pull in experiences from almost anything. And it really becomes a huge asset to you. And especially from where you come from, teaching and stuff, and especially sports, the competitive nature of that. So how did you, jumping into the agency, how did you approach that first year? Was it easy? Was it hard? And did you immediately start with the training and everything?
No, it's really interesting. So the first year I about killed myself. I was throwing mud at the wall and making it stick and trying to run the agency and try to motivate team at the same time, learning the business and working 80-hour weeks and, burning the candle at both ends. And we were successful because I was working so hard, but I realized that there's no way I could keep this pace up, and I had to figure out a different way of doing it. And what was interesting is I had an experience in the wrestling room that really caused an aha for me in my business. We had a state champion wrestler that has coming back for senior year. He was our captain on our team, and he was the number one ranked kid in the state of Wyoming, and he went into the fall season just dominating. In fact, we went into the Christmas break he was 19-0 and was undefeated. We expected to go right through the entire season undefeated. But in practice, just before Christmas, he hyperextended his elbow and it's swollen up and it was hurting. And so the doctors told him to give him a week off where all he did was run and condition, no live wrestling. And he got cleared to go back to wrestle the day before a big tournament over in Idaho. We went over there. He was still seeded the number one wrestler. We didn't think much of him not being, practicing with live partners as being a big deal because of his experience. We went in that tournament. Very first match was against a freshman, the kid that maybe had won 2 matches all year. And this kid caught him and threw him in a headlock and pinned him in about the first minute. And we were shocked. our stud wrestler, captain of the team, is beaten by a freshman. And, in wrestling, it's always a 2 and out tournament. He goes into his next match and almost the same thing happens. And so, he gets beat out instantly. He's our best wrestler on the team, and the whole team followed suit. We had a terrible weekend. It was miserable. And come Monday, he walked back into the wrestling room for practice, and I'd come over for practice, and I grabbed him. I was like, "What happened to you on Saturday? Like, what the hell? You weren't like you usually are." And he goes, "I don't know, Coach. I'm just rusty. I couldn't get into rhythm." And right then, I had this huge aha that this is what was happening daily in my office. I show a team member how to do something once, and 3 months later, I'm scratching my head going, why the hell aren't they doing what I told them 3 months ago? But I'd never revisited it since, and I realized if we don't practice and drill on a daily basis, we'll get rusty and start to lose our edge. And I realized that if I want to win state championships in my insurance agency, as a coach, I need to spend time with them daily. And that is what made that big transition in my second year, and I'm so grateful. And it's been 16 years has been a great ride. And, I'm not working 80-hour weeks now. I'm a part-timer. I work maybe 20 hours, but the most important hour of my day, every single day, is the first hour for me tonight with my team.
I love that.
It's funny we were talking about that same thing in the Elite Dudes group today in our meeting, just how important it is. And the effect of that mental aspect of it, right? We may know how to sell. We may know all the little techniques, but if you're not actually executing on those techniques, then you get rusty. And then if you get rusty, like look at how the leader was the best. He's undefeated, and his success would basically filter down and create everybody else's success. They see him fall. They're like, they're out. They're done. They can't do it anymore. And, Jason talks about it a lot. Find one person on your team that you can make really kill it. And then everybody else starts to believe.
Yeah. It's contagious.
It is. It's infectious. It's amazing. And it comes and goes. And I think it gets in our head too, when we're in that low. But then it comes back, and it's always the same stuff that you need to do. You just have to rinse, wash, repeat, and stick with it. Be consistent.
Amen. Yep.
Yeah.
What are some of the hardest things that you've gone through with the agency over the years?
Well, hiring and firing teams are always difficult, right? Finding great talent and developing them. I do believe that you get what you pay for, and if you're gonna pay minimum wage, you're going to get a minimum wage effort. So you got to learn to figure out how to compensate your team well, train them well, and then hold them to a higher standard. And when you do that, just like we do with our wrestlers in the wrestling room, they achieve. So that's always a challenge, and I think it is for agents everywhere. We've been lucky. We've been really blessed, and things have been pretty good. I haven't had a lot of bumps in the road. But it's always hard to have good customers that die unexpectedly. And we had an experience. I'm on search and rescue here in my community, and I had a couple of good friends that are doctors that had a practice. And we had a buy-sell agreement with the two of them as partners. And then they had kind of run into a bit of a rough patch, and they came in and wanted to cancel their life insurance policies just to save on premiums. I'm like, Scott and Kirk, this isn't a good idea. Can we find another way? But they were adamant. They canceled those policies, and about 2 months later, I was on a call out with search and rescue, and one of the partners, Scott, and two of his friends had been caught in an avalanche and killed. And there was no life insurance, and so that practice folded because they didn't have the benefits needed to cover the debt for the one doctor that remained behind. And I always felt like that was my fault. Like I should have stood my ground a little bit more. And so, to be honest, that was very formative. If we fail forward and when we make mistakes, and though I cautioned them, I probably should have took a harder stand. Today, I can tell that story without mentioning names. I'm very passionate about it. We do extremely well in the life insurance arena because I don't want that kind of stuff to ever happen again, especially the people I care about.
That's incredibly traumatic. and I know you probably went through a lot of stuff personally. So how did you take that? And then what did you transition? What are the changes that you made so that that wouldn't happen again? Because it sounds like you made some big changes after that.
Yeah, well, one was simplifying your conversation when it comes to life insurance so that a customer doesn't just think they need it, but they see why they want it. And when we sell to a person's wants, all of a sudden they take a lot more action. So one was creating and mastering the move, in a sense, to pitch life insurance on every transaction in our office so that we could sell at a much higher level and more often so that we were covering as much as we could. And if I do my job, I can be okay with myself at the end of the day. If I don't do my job, I don't give my best effort, then I can't. And so I think those two things, one, making sure it happens every single day on every single transaction, and keeping it simple with the process we've created are extremely effective.
So training is obviously ultra important for you to be able to pass that sort of knowledge on to your team, and especially younger, newer team members. How do you help them identify people's needs so that they can help solve?
Well, it's all about asking questions, the right questions. Now, we have actually 7 processes that we've perfected in our office. I actually talk about it in a book that I've written and some other things, but these 7 processes all align with the basic things that we as insurance agents are trying to take care of. The big issues, issues related to health, issues related to replacing income, issues related to dying too soon or living too long, issues with your auto and your home and the liability we live with. So those are the things that we deal with, but we just start by asking questions. And probably one of our favorite responses is, we'll often tell a story and ask a question that simply we tell a story about a problem that they have or a problem somebody's had that could happen to them. And we'll say, this is what your policy would do. Is that what you want your policy to do? And because it alarms them and disturbs them, they typically are like, no. Like, well, okay, well, then you have 2 options. I always taught my team, just give them 2 options. Don't give them 3, 4, 5, or 10. Just give them 2. Well, then, Craig, you can do option A, and this is what it'll do for you. And here's option B, and this is what it costs. What do you think? You want to give it a try? And that's how we close. It's a very suggestive, what do you think? You want to give it a try? And we let them pick. It's really simple and subtle, but it's very effective.
Non-threatening.
For sure.
Tell me about this book. Very intriguing.
So Paychecks Never Lie is the concept behind, really as a wrestler, what you do in the gym and in the kitchen are reflected of what you do when you stand on the scale. And at weigh-ins, we know as coaches whether that kid's been sneaking snacks and cutting corners or whether he's been cutting weight properly to make weight, right? And the scale never lies. Well, the same concept comes with insurance agents, right? If we're following intentional processes, trusting those systems, the production will come. The paychecks will be what you want, but the paycheck never lies. At the end of the day, it really is the great measurement of whether you did what you said you were going to do or not. And so in that book, we talk about fundamental things that you can do, like training your team and hiring your team and understanding your why and making sure that that vision is what drives you. And then the key component of Paychecks Never Lie is really this concept of 212 degrees. We don't want to work hard. We want to work smart. And a wrestler has to be very efficient with their strength and their conditioning not to wear out too soon, right? And so we teach wrestlers in the wrestling room how to condition themselves and pace themselves, probably a lot like a marathon runner. You're not going to sprint for 26 miles. And the same thing goes with our team and our insurance agents. We're going to teach you how to work the smartest, easiest way, not the hardest way, so that your paycheck will never lie. Follow the systems, just trust it, and the rest will take care of itself. So that's a quick snapshot.
But Randy, it's too hard to train my team. I don't have any time.
Yeah. Well, Kobe Bryant said something about that, right? And if you know the Mamba mentality, that sounds like somebody that's just a little lazy. You can make the time if it's important to you, because it's funny how we can make time to get to our golf game, or make time to go have lunch with our bride or our girlfriend, or whatever it is. You make time for the things that are most important. So I don't buy that. I think you just don't think it's important. So you're frankly lazy, and you're going to have to be okay with the paycheck that you get because of the results you're getting. Does that make sense?
100%. I could look at my dash and see a very significant correlation between the times that I was not doing training on a daily basis and the times that I am. And
for sure.
It's enormous. And this doesn't mean, I think that people get in their head like, well, I don't know what to teach, and I don't know it's like they come up with a million excuses, and it doesn't matter. Something, anything, just talk about something. And it doesn't have to be long,
Yeah, fair enough. And for sure. Now there is an argument that when someone says, well, I don't know what to do, go find a curriculum, go find a trainer, go find a book that can help you, or reach out to other great agents and find out what they do that makes things tick, and then start to practice that. At the end of the day, that's what really matters. And so, I think that's what's critical, is finding the content and then mastering it. And there should be something with every line that you sell that you can be really good at, that's simple and easy. If it's complex and hard, then hell, set it aside, because our business is already hard and complex. You don't want to insert it with more hard things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do that?
Yeah.
What's that?
Why do we inherently make things more complicated than they need to be?
I have no idea. Leonardo da Vinci said that simplicity is the great sophistication. Frankly, that's where we get the greatest successes, when we keep things simple.
Right.
And I'm actually grateful for my experience as a wrestler, because I learned how to keep things simple, because I had to pace myself, and I've done that in business. And I think that's actually the key point for all of us. Mm-hmm. Slow down, don't speed up. Either you guys pilots?
No, I wish.
I pilot a bicycle.
Yeah, I actually took my pilot's license until my instructor got killed in a plane accident. That's a whole nother story. I was terrible, but I was taking this, and one of the things that he taught me when I was teaching these lessons, or getting these lessons from him as we were flying this plane, is that when you hit turbulence, you don't hit the throttle and speed up. You do exactly the opposite. You slow down. And I would say in very uncertain times with COVID-19 and what's going on across the country, agents need to slow down just a little bit. And I promise they'll get more done by slowing down, not trying to speed up.
Back to the fundamentals.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is interesting, because slow down definitely doesn't mean take your foot completely off the gas, and it doesn't mean erase marketing, right? Which you see a lot of people do.
Yeah, it doesn't mean don't go to work. It just means be more intentional about what you do, and you'll be more effective.
Love it. Where can they get where can anybody get your book?
So you can go to Amazon. That's actually the easiest place to go. Go to Amazon. Paychecks Never Lie, and under my name, and you can find it there. The other place is on our website, stairsandbuckets.com. And we've got a bunch of other stuff on that website that you can also take a look at. We have an insurance training manual with our processes and our word scripts there. We have a video that people can actually use to train their team, or even is customer facing with clients, that teaches the basic concepts between short-term and long-term insurance, or term and permanent. And it really is a 4-minute clip that makes customers want life insurance, and they want the permanent stuff. And all of a sudden, it's not about the $20 a month policy, it's the $200 or $400 or $1,000 a month policy, depending on the client you're talking to. So stairsandbuckets.com, Paychecks Never Lie. That content's helping thousands of agents, and we want all of your listeners to have an opportunity to look at that stuff too.
For sure. We'll throw the links in the show notes. Any little secret tidbits you can drop from, like, something that somebody could action from learning it.
Okay, sorry, you're breaking up there. I missed some of that.
Actionable. I think he said actionable, right?
Yeah, anything actionable. There's a snowstorm here.
Actionable items. Well, I'd say the most important thing that you need to probably do is set the time aside to develop yourself, and then make sure you set the time to develop your team. Okay, because you don't have to go hire thoroughbreds to win the race. You can find Mustangs that teach them how to run. You just need a horse that's going to give you their heart. And so it's kind of key. There's three things that I look for in the type of employees that I hire, because I don't think I can hire these three things. I can't train it. So they either got to have it or I don't want them. One is they got to be honest, right? I don't want anybody cutting corners and cheating. That gets everybody in trouble real quick. We lose our reputations quickly. And so they have to be honest. They got to be good. Second, they've got to have a kind heart. They got to care about people, whether they know them or not. If they want to serve other people, they'll always do the best job possible of putting them in a better spot. And third, they got to be able to roll up their sleeves and get to work. I don't want to micromanage these folks. I want them to be able to do a good job. I'm going to pay them very well for doing that. So if they have those three things, I can train everything else. But if they're missing any one of those attributes, I'm not interested in having them.
So it starts with the job interview, finding that right person.
You bet. A lot of questions involved in understanding whether they have those three attributes or not.
Yeah, I think that's critical.
That a little bit.
Yeah.
What's that?
Can you walk us through that a little bit? How you interview?
Yeah. So it's usually pretty casual, but I might say something simple like this. So tell me about the first time you got caught cheating in high school.
Oh,
I like.
Look at that trap. The trap.
Yeah, or I might be like, have you ever known somebody that stole something from the store? Tell me about your the first time mom caught you with a candy bar at the grocery store, or something like that, where you're sneaking something. I want to understand at a young age, how did they deal with this right and wrong issue and telling the truth and being honest. And I'll ask them to tell me stories. And it's really interesting because you're going to see real quickly whether they're transparent and truthful or if they're trying to fill you full of crap, right? Because they don't nobody usually talks to people like that in a job interview, right? If I want to know if somebody's hardworking, and I live in a farm community up in the mountains here in Western Wyoming, so we got kids at 8 and 10 years old that are out changing sprinkler pipe and mowing lawns and helping farmers gather up towels and stuff like that. And I'll just say, how old were you when you got your first job? Tell me about, the kind of chores you did when you were young. I'm looking for the kid that at 10 years old was self-employed and earning an income versus the kid that got his first job when he was 24 years old after he graduated with $100,000 in college debt. He's never had a job before in his life, right?
Yeah.
So I want somebody that knows how to get their hands dirty. And so I'll ask questions and tell me a story about when. And so that's how I phrase those questions, looking for those three attributes. There's only three things I care about because I believe I can train everything else. But can you imagine somebody that's a hot shot that's going to come in and work for you and they're a liar? Who would employ a person like that?
Nope.
You don't even want to go there.
They're not going to change.
Oh, no, they won't. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
We always say you can't change the stripes on a skunk.
I like that.
So when they start with, well, the first time that I got caught cheating, then it's like, hey, listen, you know what? Actually, I had a call come up. We gotta wrap this one up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
It's a little sneaky, but it's important.
And I like that too, because half of what we do when selling is storytelling. So can they tell a story? Like, tell me a story about this. And if they can carry on a conversation, you can tell whether or not they're.
Exactly. You can know whether they're composed, whether they're personable. There's a lot of other things you learn along the way, but yeah. Anyways, that's my take.
I love that's a knowledge nugget right there. I love that.
Big nugget. So, Randy, tell me if you were going to talk to somebody who was coming into the insurance world and give the number one piece of advice to them to get started so that they don't go crazy, what would you tell them?
So they would go crazy. I'd say, good luck. That's not going to happen. No, I'd say you have to be systemized to run a business like this and be profitable. You have got to identify your systems and stay true to them. If you don't have systems in place, you're like herding cats. I don't know if you saw that old Super Bowl ad a few years ago, the one that got Cowboys herding cats. That's what our business is. And so you got to get organized. Michael, I think it was Michael Gerber, wrote the book E-Myth and E-Myth Revisited. That's a fantastic book about systemizing your business so that it's going to run. And it ought to be a machine. It ought to flow. And then you're not dependent on people. You're dependent on systems. And then you can plug and play people. And that's kind of how I operate with the training systems I have in my team. Is this is the system. This is how we answer the phone. This is how we talk to people about auto insurance or car, home insurance or life insurance or health insurance. This is how you say it every single time. So you can really improve your quality and your close ratios when you get that thing dialed down. But if it's willy-nilly and you're just winging all the time, good luck staying in business. This is a cutthroat business. You don't know what you're doing.
It is.
Yep.
And you'll get God admitted to death in this business if you don't have the systems in place. Well, Randy, thank you so much. This has been awesome. We'd love to catch up with you down the road, maybe do a part 2. And
that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, get the book, read it, and tell me what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys.
For sure. We'll circle back and do a little book club on it.
Very good.
There we go.
There's a lot of pictures in there for those boys that don't like to read.
Okay. Shoot. Thanks, Randy. We'll see you down the road.
Randy, awesome.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Hey, you've got to check out the Insurance Dudes Inner Circle, coming soon, where you get extended interviews as well as live coffee talks in our private Facebook group. Join the mailing list today at theinsurancedudespodcast.com. Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.